WCBI News at 10 starts now.
Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Cash Matlock. We begin with somber news tonight. One person is dead following a Friday night wreck in Calhoun County. Sergeant Derek Beckham with the Mississippi Highway Patrol says 53-year-old Otis McGregor of Oxford was driving north on Highway 9 when his car ran off of the side of the road. McGregor tried to recover but overcorrected and crossed the highway and then hit a tree. The Oxford man was pronounced dead at the scene. Well, developing news tonight, a Nanawaya football player is hospitalized after a shooting Friday afternoon. The alleged gunman, the teen's uncle, 38-year-old Frederick Nunn. According to the Kemper County Sheriff's Office, he's charged with aggravated assault. Kemper County Sheriff James Moore says the teen was shot 4 or 5 times and flown to UMMC in Jackson. The shooting happened at Highway 397 around 4 o'clock Friday afternoon. Both Kemper and Winston County deputies responded to the call, but the shooting happened on the Kemper County side. Sheriff Moore says the teen was in critical condition. Stay with WCBI and WCBI.com for an update. Well, some people in the community are still demanding that Harry Sanders step down as supervisor in Lowndes County after his racial comments to a local newspaper in June. Protesters gathered outside of the Lowndes County Courthouse again today. Their goal to urge Sanders to resign. Supervisor for District 5, Leroy Brooks, says it's a very difficult situation to be an elected official and have to sit with Sanders knowing the way he feels.
Who says that in this social and political time about a group of people? And he didn't show any remorse for it. He says, I meant it. And so that's a embedded kind of hatred. If he was just an individual in the community, it'd be one thing. But he's an elected official with influence and authority over people's lives, and he gets to say that, and he doesn't seem to care about what the community thinks.
Sanders' term expires in 2024. The Mississippi State Department of Health reports 1,134 new cases of COVID-19 with 30 new deaths. There are 37 new cases among long-term care facilities. The total number of cases since March 11th is now more than 59,000 with more than 1,600 deaths. It's presumed that more than 35,000 Mississippians have recovered from the virus. Starting Monday, masks will be required in Lowndes County, and this comes after the governor issues an executive order making it mandatory. Individuals will have to wear masks while in public gatherings or in a shopping environment. The order also limits social gatherings to no more than 10 people indoors and 20 people outdoors. The City of Columbus is issuing out guidelines for businesses to follow in light of the executive order. If an employee has been exposed to the coronavirus or showing symptoms, they'll be sent home and must be tested. Businesses must sanitize all high-touch areas once every 2 hours, and they must also maintain a 6 feet separation between customers.
The hope has always been people would do it without being required by the governor to do it. But perhaps just as importantly for those people that don't recognize the value of the health benefit is there's a $500 fine or 6 months in jail penalty associated with violating the governor's orders.
The order will be in effect until August 17th. Well, the Starkville-Oktibbeha Consolidated School District delays the start of the new school year. The decision comes after dozens of parents request to switch to virtual learning. The new start date is now August 24th. Superintendent Dr. Eddie Passant says the district has gotten more than 1,000 requests from parents since July 21st. That's 20% of the student population that's wanting to move to virtual learning due to COVID-19. The district says it was prepared for virtual learning for 25% of students, but nothing more. To prepare, teachers will start training over the next 2 weeks. Pearl River Resorts announces plans to reopen. The Golden Moon Hotel and Casino will reopen on August 8th with a few changes to their operation. Starting this month, all attendees will be required to wear a face mask. Patrons will have their temperatures checked automatically when entering the facility, and only every other machine will be open. That's to promote social distancing. The facility will also use an ultraviolet air filtration system. Well, taking a look nationally, after a week of record numbers and deaths from COVID-19, Florida is now bracing for a tropical storm that has forced the shutdown of many testing sites. Many states in the South and Midwest are dealing with a surge in cases. CBS News correspondent Danya Bacchus has the latest from Los Angeles.
Florida is bracing for a possible hit from the storm as the state also grapples with record numbers of coronavirus deaths. California has now confirmed more than 500,000 COVID-19 cases since the pandemic began, the most infections for any state.
We need the National Guard to come out to tell these fools who don't want to wear masks that if you're gonna wear the mask or you're gonna go home.
For millions of out-of-work Americans, enhanced unemployment benefits expired overnight. On Capitol Hill, top congressional Democrats met Saturday with Trump administration officials to try to break a deadlock with Republicans on a new relief plan.
Just saying we'll do halfway doesn't work when people need homes and need jobs and need housing and need help.
We're still a long ways apart, but like with any deal, as you make progress, I think it's important to recognize that you're making progress.
Another House member, Arizona Democrat Raul Grijalva, announced he has tested positive for the coronavirus. Speaker Nancy Pelosi issued a mask order for all House members and staff this week after Representative Louis Gohmert tested positive. Gohmert had made a point of not wearing a mask on Capitol Hill. And starting today, Target, Gap stores, and McDonald's now require masks nationwide. Danya Backus, CBS News, Los Angeles.
The National Hurricane Center downgraded Isaias from hurricane to tropical storm today.
That's right, Cash. We'll have the latest on Isaias coming up here in just a little bit. First, let's take a look at what's going on locally. Some spots a little cooler than others thanks to a cold front coming through. 72 in Starkville, 72 in Tupelo as well. We're still 76 here at the Air Force Base. That front hasn't quite made it to us, but it is slowly but surely making its way here. 68 for the low tonight. Maybe an isolated sprinkle here in the next couple of hours. Generally just partly cloudy tonight with a light northwesterly wind 3 to 7. Tomorrow, waking up to a little bit of patchy fog, especially along and north of Highway 82. Keep that in mind if you plan to be out and about tomorrow morning. Generally for the rest of the day, a mix of some sunshine and clouds. And again, not quite as hot as we have been, not quite as humid as we have been. Highs getting up close to 90 with about a 20% chance of a shower. So much like we saw today, most folks not going to see any rain. Overall, a pretty nice day for your Sunday and several more days coming up here in the upcoming week. I've got a full look at that AccuWeather 7-day forecast coming up in just a few minutes. Cash?
All right, thanks, Trevor. Well, school districts around the state have different reopening plans, but for many parents, the worry about reopening in the midst of the COVID-19 crisis is universal. Courtney Ann Jackson spoke with two moms and has more on the story. Take a look.
Erin McKenzie has two girls going into kindergarten and fourth grade. She knows the impact COVID-19 is having on their community in Pike County, but her girls will be going back on a traditional schedule.
Just because of our work schedules, we don't really have the option to send our children virtually because we don't have anybody to watch them.
Still, she worries.
Hopefully that their little immune systems are better and they'll be safe. I mean, I would just have to pray about it, and hopefully they'll get through it and not, bring it home and transmit it to anybody else, or, I don't know. It's just scary.
And we may have already seen evidence of how it can happen. Corinth schools were the first in the state to reopen Monday. Friday, they shared someone at the high school has tested positive. And the North Pike School District Superintendent confirms 3 students tested positive after participating in an extracurricular activity.
I have 2 boys. Travis is 13 and Trevor is 12.
Thomasina Torrey feels fortunate to have the option to keep her 12 and 13-year-old sons at home for distance learning, especially since she's caring for her elderly mother and uncle in her home.
We've had outbreaks of strep and it spread like wildfire. So little things like that, if you can't control an outbreak of strep in a school, the parents that gotta bring their kids to school are gonna bring them to school. And what if this child is not showing immediate symptoms, or our parents are not honest and say, hey, my child was around Uncle Jim, they had COVID.
Courtney Ann Jackson, WCBI News.
The governor says he plans to spend the weekend reviewing each school's reopening plans and will comment on them next week. Well, the Starkville Junior Auxiliary hosted their annual Stuff the Bus event this morning. The program took place in the Chick-fil-A parking lot from 11 to 2. Anyone could drive through and drop off school supplies for children in Oxapaha County. JA members were collecting the usual supplies like notebooks and binders, but they were also taking up items like face masks and hand sanitizer.
I think it's really important just because of the climate that we're in right now. I mean, obviously our mission for the Junior Auxiliary of Starkville is to just support and be there for the children of Oktibbeha County and to serve them. But just right now with COVID-19 happening and just all of that, I think it's even more important this year. Like I said, some parents and students, or maybe children that are cared for by their grandparents, are not able to go out and get those supplies. And so I think that is a really important part of it. So this is just available to them if they absolutely need it. So.
Donations will be taken up throughout the year. For ways to contact the Junior Auxiliary of Starkville, go to WCBI.com. Coming up, 2 local women are honored after serving their church for more than 40 years. You don't want to miss this story. Coming up next, stay with us.
Watching WCBI News at 10 p.m. with Cash Matlock.
Welcome back, everyone. Today, members of the St. James Methodist Church joined forces at a local assisted living center to hold a small celebration for some special members. Miss Knowles and Miss Frazier have been involved with the church for more than 40 years. And church member Eve Priester says that you can still bond with someone even from a distance.
To be confined and not know everybody that's in there, we wanted them to know that we love them for being who they are and for serving God, and then giving back to them is what we wanted to do and show love.
Church members met in front of the nursing home. Miss Knowles is 89 years old and Miss Frazier is 80 years old.
Believe it or not, today is August 1st. If you ask me in cash, that means you can pull out your fall decorations, Halloween, pumpkins, just go ahead and get them out. We're close enough now, right? Hey, 51 days until the first day of fall. Unfortunately, we still have 90 to go until Halloween, 117 until Thanksgiving, and 146 until Christmas. But I promise you it's going to be here before you know it, and that weather is going to start changing. Some changes even coming this week. I've got all the details on that coming up right after this. Stay with us.
Your WCBI First Alert AccuWeather forecast with meteorologist Trevor Burchett.
Hey, a pretty nice summer sunset today in downtown Columbus. Take a look at the Alpha Insurance camera network. Some of those white friendly clouds out there actually help to aid in that sunset. You see some of the colors popping up there over the Golden Triangle region. And for our friends up to the north and west, even a little bit cooler right now, thanks to a cold front coming on through. We'll get to that in just a little bit, but first let's get to radar. Good news is not a whole lot going on. We've been tracking some storms down to the south near Jackson and in Neshoba County. I don't think those make it to us. Maybe extreme southern Winston and Noxubee counties down there near Nanawaya getting in on a little bit of rainfall later tonight. Most folks don't see any rain. That is some good news if you're planning on being out and about. There's that cold front I was telling you about, set up basically from Tupelo back south toward Winona. And for the folks behind that front, temperature's already a little bit cooler. We're 68 in Oxford, 70 right now in Bruce, but a little bit warmer and a little bit muggier to the south and east. 74 in Columbus, 76 in Macon. We're 74 right now in Vernon, Alabama. Tropical update wise, we've got some new information on Tropical Storm Isaias. Right now, basically due east of Miami, still a tropical storm, close to a hurricane, those 70-mile-an-hour winds. Pressure is down now to 995 millibars. And you see that kind of blob right there at the end. That's indicative of a little bit of strengthening. And the National Hurricane Center and myself do think this thing is going to strengthen back into a Category 1 hurricane as it approaches the east coast of Florida, kind of riding right up the coast there, approaching the Carolinas here by Monday or Tuesday, and then kind of shooting off the east coast up towards New York City by Tuesday and Wednesday. So some gusty winds and heavy rain, high tides possible all along the east coast here over the next several days. The good news is nothing major expected, and we're not expecting any impacts from Isaias here locally. Today, though, as I mentioned, the first day of August. Let's take a look back to July, though. 96 was our hottest temperature. That was on the 19th and the 20th of the month. Our lowest was 70. We hit that several times through the month, as you can see. Our rainiest day was the very first day of July. We picked up nearly 2 inches of rain. And in terms of rainfall for the month, we're basically right where we should have been. Our normal is 4.22 inches. We picked up 4.39. So just a little bit more than normal, but definitely no drought and definitely no heavy rain, and a deluge of rain, if you will. So some good news in that department. We're pretty much right where we should be for the month of July. Tonight, I think most folks stay dry, maybe a little bit of patchy fog up to the north, along and north of Highway 82. 65 for the low in Tupelo, 68 tonight here in Columbus. As I mentioned, that front going to take a little bit longer to get to us. Tomorrow, again, basically the same as today, a mix of sunshine and clouds, maybe an isolated shower or storm through the afternoon. Only a 20% chance, though. That means 80% of us don't see any rain tomorrow. 89 degrees for the high. The good news is, though, over the next several days, temperature is going to stay a little bit warmer, but the humidity going to be a lot lower. That means our comfort index is down close to the comfortable category. So we're still going to be in the 80s, but humidity not quite as high, and rain chances also diminished. So Tuesday through Thursday, really looking at a pretty good stretch of weather here in North Mississippi and West Alabama. Here's a look at that AccuWeather 7-day forecast. Maybe some storms tomorrow, pop-up storms for Monday, really dry for the rest of the week into the weekend, and fairly comfortable. Highs in the 80s to right around 90. But again, Cash, the big thing you're going to notice is the lower humidity. It's still going to be warm out there, but when it's not muggy outside, that really makes all the difference.
Lower humidity sounds amazing.
It is great. I wish it was fall. I wish I was telling you it was snowing tomorrow. That is my favorite type of weather.
I was going to tell you I have an issue, or I have many issues, because I've already bought pumpkins. Like, I literally bought them yesterday.
Put them out.
I'm going to.
Go for it. That's like people that leave their Christmas decorations up all year.
I know.
Who
I'm
cares?
the opposite. I'm worse. All right. Thanks, Trevor. Well, coming up, we got the latest from CBS All Access, but we're going to check in with Victory Christian Academy for the next stop on the high school football tour. Don't go anywhere. CBS All Access announces a major expansion, and Jeff Daniels is former FBI Director James Comey in the first trailer for the Comey Rule. Chris Martinez has those stories and more in today's Eye on Entertainment.
Loser! Diego!
The Umbrella Academy returns to Netflix for an explosive Season 2. The hit series, based on a comic book of the same name, follows a family of wayward would-be superheroes. Season 2 of The Umbrella Academy premieres on Netflix today. CBS All Access is giving you more shows than ever to binge at home. The streaming service announced it's adding more than 3,500 episodes of shows from BET, Comedy Central, MTV, Nickelodeon, and the Smithsonian Channel. New exclusive series have also been announced to the lineup, including the SpongeBob SquarePants spin-off, Camp Coral. Crazy skills, outlandish pranks, and a whole lot of fun are in store in an all-new episode of the greatest at-home videos.
Good job, Dad. So graceful.
Cedric the Entertainer hosts the program that features some of the best home videos in the age of social distancing. The greatest at-home videos airs tonight, right here on CBS. And we're getting a first look at Jeff Daniels as former FBI Director James Comey in the upcoming miniseries, The Comey Rule.
I have looked at this from every angle. They're all terrible.
The two-part miniseries is based on Comey's best-selling book recounting his time working with President Trump. The Comey Rule premieres on Showtime this September. That's your Eye on Entertainment. Chris.
WCBI Sports with Courtney Robb. WCBI Sports 2020 High School Football Tour is brought to you by Itawamba Community College, Cannon Ford of Starkville, Monroe County Farm Bureau, Max South Broadband, and the Bank of Vernon.
With everything, we didn't go back, March 11th, I guess is when all this kind of came down, and we didn't get back in school after spring break. So we're just going to be starting from scratch on Monday. We haven't done anything on campus, so we're kind of new territory as far as that goes. So hopefully the guys have been working out on their own with the uncertainty and not knowing, really the best course. We just held off, and I kept putting it off, and as far as trying to get in person or do that type of thing, I'm hoping we're able to do as much as we possibly can, as safely as we can, to keep the kids and the coaches safe. But it's just, I guess the buzzword right now is uncertain. It's an uncertain situation. We should be all right in the line. That'll be our most experienced area, but we're going to have to replace quarterback and running back that accounted for most of our offense last year. So we've got some young players coming up. I think we'll be able to do that, but it's going to be some inexperience at the skill positions and more experience in the line, offensive, defensive line, returning. With the line that we should have coming back, I feel like we ought to be able to run the ball pretty good, and then we'll just have to see how it develops from there. But we'll we'll stick with the offensive philosophy that we've always kind of run with, which is run the ball first and then set the pass up off of that game. It's not going to change much from previous years as far as the message. It's just a matter of maybe the obstacles and some of the difficulties are different than what we're used to, but there's still things that whatever we can do to overcome them, that's what we're going to try to do.
WCBI Sports 2020 High School Football Tour with Victory Christian is brought to you by Burns Dirt Construction Incorporated and the Flower Girl Wedding and Florist.
Isolated storms possible for the next several days, but really dry by the middle of the week. Also, a lot more comfortable.
All right, thank you guys. We'll see you back here tomorrow night.